Hi guys, this is ManniX. So I had to redo the CEO accounts for this 5800X and I had to make a video. This is 1500X with the hole at 1900 F clock. So I'm running now at 1867. And it's a profile for 4000 megahertz memory. Um, it's VSOC slightly higher, CCD IOD high. The VRM is set with PWM phase frequency high 1000 kilohertz. It's all beefed up. It, it could be needed, it could not be needed, it could be also counterproductive, depends on your sample. So you need to know already what is best for you. If you don't get the results you were expecting, go back and check if you need more voltages, less voltages. RAM profile, if you want the cores to boost, needs to be good. You need good RAM, and of course, higher is the clock, better it is. Here I have also slightly bumped up VDD18 1P8 voltage for the CPU. It's it's all set pretty beefy, but you don't necessarily need it. If you see at PBO, I just added something to the stock settings. I know that for this 5800 under 40 ADC is the best. You can get maybe something more in all core. Also with the scalar 10, but it's really a small change. Doesn't bring much in the single, and light threaded is better at 140 and scalar 1. In this case, boost clock is plus 200, so it's 50-50. That's what we are aiming for. The PPT and TDC, it's slightly bumped up from 142 and 90 stock. It doesn't really change much on this CPU. It's you go higher, you get slightly better results in all core, but that's all. When you start, it's better to set all counts in BIOS to 0. You need to have PBO tuner from PJVol. You need to use HWInfo, and you need BoostTester. There is a chance that the system will crash, but I mean, if you are careful about core 0 and the best core, which is in this case, who is the best core? It's the core 3. It's unlikely that you get a system crash. Especially core 0, you have to be careful to not drop the count to something really unstable. About HWInfo, you need to set at the beginning snapshot CPU pooling. This is important. It's better to disable whatever you don't need. So smart add drive scan, also the GPU because there will be less load on the system and the cores will boost better. About the configure of the sensor, set 500 milliseconds, and yes, I mean those are disabled, but I usually put more cycles to reduce the load. Now, our goal is to get the cores with BoostTester as close as possible at the 50-50 megahertz. So let's start BoostTester and see what happens. Okay, now we have a core 0, which is a bit disappointing. 4960. Max effective clock. You have to check the effective clock. Core 1 as well, 4958. This is the max clock. This, while running, is the sustained clock. You see 4930, 4920. This is the sustained clock, which is 4940 max. This is core 3, the best, more than 5 gigahertz, sustained, and also max. So now we have to try to bring all the cores as much as possible up. Core 0 is not really a fantastic core, but is important, so we will try to bring it up as much as possible. Let's see the minus 15. Core 1, it's even worse. Let's see, minus 15. Core 2, worse. It's another core at the end of the quality scale. Core 3, it's our best core. It's already running at 5013. So I guess we can try a minus 5 to see what happens. So we have already core 0 at 5026. That's pretty good. 5021. Core 2, 5014. Not bad. Core 4, it's already at 5000. Let's try a minus 10. Core 5, 4957. Let's try a minus 15. Core 6, same. Core 6 is a pretty decent core. Let's see, minus 15. And core 7. Oh, core 7 is pretty bad. Let's see what happens with minus 15. So we have now core 0, 50, 26. Let's try a minus 20. Oh, come on. It's pretty maxed out. I would say we leave it there. Core 1 also is pretty satisfying. Core 2 is going fast. Let's see Core 3 now, where it stands, 5040. Looks pretty good already. As you see, when you bring down other cores, they impact also the others. (5040), not bad at all. (5040). (5040). So the 6 is very steady, 5040 and sustained. Let's see the 7, 50, 15 steady. The 7 will need a bit of a bump. 5040 steady for core 0. Let's see core 1. 5040 steady. 5040 steady. 5040 steady also for core 3. 5040 steady. Very nice. 5040 steady also for core 5. 5040. Very good. Now let's see, the core 7 is the only one which was slower. And 5040. And now, as you can see, the delta between the reference clock toward the effective clock is basically 0. So this is the ideal condition you can have. Even if it's 25 megahertz up to 50 megahertz, it's not dramatic, but as close as it is, better the efficiency. So now we have a nice baseline for testing with CoreCycler. You better take some screenshots with a mobile, or copy and paste, or take notes and writing, and then you can put this stuff into the BIOS. This is just a starting point. Now what you need to do next is to use CoreCycler to verify. So how to test with CoreCycler now that you have this nice baseline? Prime 95 I will start with something very quick, like 2 minutes, only 720 FFT. I will disable suspend periodically, because otherwise with a very short runtime, it will basically do nothing most of the time. And you should use the core test order from the order you have CPPC here from, can we copy it? Yeah, from HWInfo. So in this case, I already had it, maybe. I don't think so. No. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 1, 2, 7. You want to test first the best scores. In this case, we want to test 720, 720 and SSE mode first. And let's start. Before starting, let's reset the statistics. Reset. And start CoreCycler. Now we are going to do a very quick sweep to see if these cores are really stable. And we check the speed, because this is not a light workload, this is an heavy workload. So at this point you can decide to be conservative and just testing stability, or to maximize the counts and get this clock higher. Right now we are testing 3, and as you can see it's 4850 megahertz, pretty stable. I would say let's run this 2 minutes for each core and then see what are the max effective clocks for each one. So now we add a full iteration on all cores. What can we see? The first core is also the fastest one, highest max clock, while core 3 was just a bit below. This is telling us we can probably do something more on core 3 than -5. We also have core 2, which is not exactly at the same speed as the others. And then we have the worst cores, which are 6 and 7. We also have to consider, as you can see, there is load on core 7. That's probably because of the recording and hardware info running. It's better if you close the hardware info window, if you minimize it. Save and settings. It will stay in the system tray, but will not consume so much resources. Then you can reopen it. This is probably why the 7 is lower than the others. You also should not have the main window enabled at this point. Now, what you can do here is a lot of things. You can call it a day and start testing all the cards for stability, or just start testing everything and to set a baseline to be sure that these core counts are reliable. But it's of course a lot of time. I mean, if we check how much time it's going to take, let's see here. You have to test with SSE instructions, you have to test with AVX, and maybe also with AVX2. And you have to test all the FFTs. This means 40-60 minutes per core with SSE, 90-130 with AVX, 100-160 minutes with AVX2. So it's really a lot of time. Or you can be a bit more adventurous and start looking for something better. You can do that. It's better if you start from the best cards. Those are the cards you need to boost more. The other cards, they will take load only when there will be more trading, more processes running in parallel. So the clock will be lower. In any case, they will equalize to a lower clock. But of course, lower is arithmetically the counts sum. If you sum the counts, lower is the negative count and higher will be the clock when multiple cores are loaded 100%. So especially with all core load, it matters quite a lot how low you can have all the counts, including those for the cores which are not the best. Now, let's say you want to see how far you can go with core 3. You can just let's stop CoreCycler. You can just set a higher runtime. I usually go to 10 minutes because it's 6 minutes. It's often not enough. Depends on how many cycles you want to run. And I also enable suspend periodically to have the core boost up and down. It can trigger easily instabilities. And you start testing, of course, from the best core. We already have them here, but if you get a problem with testing, so with an iteration, and you have like number 2 failing, just put it at the beginning. And start testing once you have fixed the count, or at least with the new count you want to try. It doesn't hurt it doesn't hurt. It's better every time you change something, you change a count, to retest all cores. Because if there is a core which is unstable, it will affect also the others. So it's important to retest everything every time, unless you want to take some risks, but it could be a huge waste of time. Let's try now something more aggressive, and let's see what is the result. So we have core 3 that we want to push a little bit higher. So let's put -10. Let's see core 1. Core 1 is per 5, 6, 6, 7. I mean, let's be aggressive and let's test -20. Core 4. Core 4 is already running pretty high, but it's still -10. Let's try -15. Core 5 as well. It's already running pretty high, but maybe it can do better. And core 6 is, we hope to do much better. So let's see, -20 and -25 here. And now let's see with that 10 minutes test what happens. This time I will close HWInfo and I will open it only when needed. You can save the current status, take a screenshot of the effective clocks to see how it will change. I recommend to use Screenshot. It's free and open source and very comfortable to use. And let's see what happens now. So here we have another fault on core 6. Core 648.53. So it boosted a bit better, but cannot hold it. So let's go back to minus 15 on this one. Let's say we start again with 6 this time. Config ini, let's move those at the end. And rerun CoreCycler. Let's reset the statistics and close hardware info in the system tray. And here we are. We passed a full iteration, 720, 720. What to do next? Let's compare the clocks. So, Core 0 is going a little bit better. Core 1, 4847, a little bit better. Core 2, a little bit better. Core 3, slightly better. Core 4, almost 4900. Core 5, 4900. Core 6, 4826. Core 7, 4835. Now, we have more or less always an uplift in frequency. If you don't see an uplift in frequency, then this could be a problem. Not necessarily, but it could be a problem. It could be a signal that the core is not stable or borderline stable. And this can be an issue later. Because now if you want to bring down some counts and everything looks good, then you keep going testing, and maybe with a different FFT you get some errors on a core, maybe the number 3 or the number 2, which was supposed to be stable, and then you test again and it's not anymore stable where previously was passing. So you really have to be careful. You have to save your super safe curve that you define at the beginning. And if you have some doubts, like, I don't know, core 3 not passing -6, then it doesn't really make sense what is happening. Go back for the other cores to the safe curve that you define at the beginning. Now, what you can do next, you can do the smartest thing and just test this curve settings with everything. So test with SSE, with AVX, with AVX2, all the FFT sides, test with Y-Cruncher. You can set Y-Cruncher here and test with Kagari, which is the AVX2. There is also the legacy option, but honestly, if you pass all the SSE FFTs, I don't know how much important it is. You can no, you cannot really set much. You have to modify the script if you want to test only N32 and 64, which are the two tests more tough with Kagari. Now, you can go over, maybe go back to 2 minutes and try to churn some more counts and find where a core is unstable, and then maybe go back a couple of counts, and then keep going on with the testing. This is the alternative of testing now and trying to define a stable baseline. But then you will get probably in trouble with unstable cores. In any case, the step after this is to keep testing all the FFTs. So you have to put auto, and you have to test always with SSE, with prime. Let's resume the natural order. And test all the other FFTs. So, mode SSE. Now, if your Fmax is higher than what you run on these FFT sides, right now we have 50-50 megahertz, and we are running at below or about 4900 megahertz. If your Fmax is below or about this, so 4900 or 4850, I don't remember which is the max for the 5600X, then you probably have better luck testing smaller FFT sites. So you have tested 720. What you need to test is 4 to 720. What I usually test is this FFT sites. If the Fmax is higher, like in this case, because with these FFT sides, a good core for the 5950X can peak testing up to 50-50 megahertz. So it's much easier, especially for the best cores, to fail with a huge FFT size because they will clock higher. If you test with these FFT sides, you can then test later this one for 720 and then complete the journey. Test 720 16,000, and once you are done, you can test around 127 up to 32,768. If you are testing AVX2, the last step is 51,200. And if you are testing AVX2, 720K it's not available. You need to test 768K. So let's now see what Core 3 can clock max testing these FFT sites. Let's take a screenshot, this time also with the vid that can be useful, of the max clock on 720. And let's reset the timers. The counters, not the timers, but also the timers. Let's see what happens. So let's see if really boosted higher. And yes, indeed, it's boosting up to 50-50. Peak max effective clock, perfectly aligned with the core clock. Can desire anything better in theory. So I had to bring down a few counts, core 0 and core 4. I got quite a few reboots, more than I expected. I'm still not 100% sure about core 5, core 6. It's probably okay, but I will probably have to test with a few more cycles with these FFT sites because it's really pushing high the clock. If we compare with the baseline that we found at the beginning with BoostTester, we have core 0 minus 15 and core 5, core 6. We only have core 4, which, no, not even core 4, core 0 only. which was too optimistic at -20. But except that, the DCO counts that we got with the first round of BoostTester, they were already pretty safe. Of course, it's not exhaustive. We need to test more and more to be sure it's working properly. Where we stand up with let me check here. It's yeah, this is good. Where we stand with BoostTester now? How high are we boosting? Let's see. Okay, this is sustained almost 50-50. Card 0 is good, despite we had to lower the counts. Core 1 as well, 50-50. Core 2 the same, 50-50. Core 3, 50-50. All max and sustained very high. Fifty-fifty, also core 4. Core 5. 50-50 as well. But this one, I'm not really sure at -20 is sustainable. 50-50 on core 6. Let's see here, this is the worst, 50-50. So at the end, we got 50-50 max and sustained with boost tester, even if we had to bring down some cores. Let's see with CPU-Z what we get. Not as score, because score with OB Studio running and hardware info is not going to be great. But let's see how it's going with the core clocks. Okay, 4940. It's not bad. Let's see, 2 threads. Still 49, 30. This is good. It's keeping the same clock, basically. 2 threads. Let's see, 4 threads. Not bad. 4860. I mean, there is also a 5th core running, so it's more or less 5 cores at almost 4.9 gigahertz. It's good. 6, we are just a bit above 4.8 gigahertz. Not bad. If we stress test all 4760, which is pretty good, not bad at all. Okay, guys, good luck with all your CO tuning. That's all, folks. Bye.